Hey guys, Vanabelle here with My Massage World, and in this week's video we're talking policies. What policies to have and why you need to always enforce them. Policies are crucial to a business. They're going to set boundaries for what you as a business should expect from your clients and what those clients can expect from you. First, we're going to look at the types of policies you really need to have for your massage practice and a few that you may want to put into place but aren't as necessary. You can word these policies however you like, but take the time to sit down and work these out in detail if you haven't already. It will save you so much time and stress in the long run. So first, those must-have policies will need to cover these subjects. Cancellations. This is a big one. What's the time frame they can cancel in with no repercussions, and what happens if they don't give you enough time? So let's say you have a 24-hour cancellation notice policy. What needs to also be stated is how much of that service fee they're responsible for if they cancel less than 24 hours before their appointment. Late arrivals and no-shows. How long before their appointment should they arrive? What happens if they're late? This really depends on how you operate your day-to-day practice and how much time you give yourself between clients, things like that. Most places, it's customary that if a client is late, they lose that time and you still end at the scheduled time, especially if they're 15 minutes late or more. Beyond 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the time of the service, many places will simply say that they forfeited their appointment. The choice is yours. As for no-shows, what do you need to enforce to discourage this? One no-show with no consequence, and then a credit card is required to hold all future appointments. Are they required to pay the full service fee if they miss? That stuff usually kind of standard, but you have to do what you feel is right, of course. Inappropriate behavior, right to refuse service, and client termination. These all kind of go hand in hand, so you may have one policy or you may separate this type of thing out. It just depends on the specifics of your business. But this is definitely needed as we in this industry often have to deal with those who have some not so professional requests for a massage therapist. So what's your policy around this? If they say or do anything that makes you uncomfortable or overtly request any inappropriate actions, you have the right to end the session. They're required to pay in full and they're banned from your establishment. You've got to figure out what works for you. One note, be careful how you word this, as anytime you use the word sexual or anything like that, even in reference to the fact that you don't offer that, those lovely search engines may still pick that up and put your website in a search meant for something else. So just be mindful of that when you're working up the wording for this particular policy on your website. You also may want to include something about simply your right to refuse service and terminate a client. This could be in regard to someone impaired due to drug, alcohol, or prescription use, a refusal to follow other policies, a lack of respect shown toward you or your staff, or anything of that nature. Any reason you may flat out refuse to see someone. And you can terminate someone as a client for any of these reasons too. You have that right, as long as it's not discriminatory in nature, of course. Refunds, exchanges, and transfers. This is especially important if you sell retail, but if you offer packages or have a membership program, this is also an important part to include in the terms that you already need to set down for those specific setups. So, what qualifies someone for a refund? Can they exchange one product for another? What if it's been used? How much? Things like that. Can they transfer their package or membership to a friend or even split it with someone else? All of these things need to be considered and laid out in detail. Gift certificates. If you sell gift certificates, you'll need a policy concerning when they expire, but also concerning refunds, exchanges, transfers, all that good jazz, just like I mentioned a minute ago. Can they get a refund for cash or is it exchange only? Can someone who received a gift certificate, let someone else use it? If the certificate was for a specific service, can they pick something else instead? All of that kind of stuff has to be considered and put into your policy. And on this note, be sure to check with your state regarding expiration dates for gift certificates. This is not something you arbitrarily decide, but is a state and federal law that you have to abide by. Usually, it's anywhere between 2 to 5 years that a gift certificate has to be honored, but some states don't allow an expiration at all. Check with your state to be sure you're following the law here. Returned checks. If you take checks, it's imperative that you have a policy about returned or bounced checks. What's the fee you will charge if they bounce a check? How do you expect payment? What time frame do they have to pay the amount plus the return check fee? What's your policy on taking checks from that person after that? All of this needs to be laid out. Now, for those policies you may want to have but aren't necessarily as important. A cell phone policy. So, do you require cell phones to be put away, on silent, or do you even care? An appointment booking or credit card holding policy. So you may require a phone consultation before they can book an appointment, or you may require a credit card to hold any appointment, or anything else along those lines. If you have some requirements around booking an appointment, you'll need to have those spelled out for clients. Third-party discount site policies. If you use anything like Groupon or the like, you'll want to have some policies laid out. Things like they must present their voucher at the time of service, that they're only to be used for a service, not gift certificates, products, things like that. And if you have a plan on getting these clients to work their way up to paying full price, have that laid out as well. So maybe you honor a discount schedule that increases by $10 or something for each of their next 4 visits until they're at the full price, or whatever it may be. I've seen some therapists do that, and it works well for transitioning clients from Groupon to full paying. So if you do that sort of thing, this is where you can lay that out for them. And last but not least, age requirements. This can be specifically for those receiving services as well as those who are allowed in the establishment period. So you may not work on any minors. Say that. No one under 18 is allowed to book a service. Or you'll need to lay out that you require a parent to be present in the room the entire session if you do work on minors. Or you may have a no children policy, so no one under the age of 18 or maybe 16 or whatever you decide is allowed to be in your establishment. I've heard a lot of therapists complain of a client bringing a kid to sit out in the waiting room who was loud the entire time and disturbed other guests. If you're not okay with that, spell it out in a policy. So do those policies make sense? You have to figure out exactly what you want included in each of these. I can't tell you what's going to be best for your massage practice. So do what's right for you. And be sure you have all these policies clearly stated on your website, referenced in your emails, and the necessary ones mentioned again in your reminder calls. Now, some of you may be asking, is it really necessary to have all of these? Most of them, yes, absolutely necessary. You have a business, right? Not a hobby. So treat it as such. Give your business and yourself the respect you each deserve and set your boundaries. Figure out what you will and will not tolerate and write your policies around that. And don't feel like these have to stay forever. Through changes in your business and just specific experiences, you may tweak these policies over time. That's perfectly fine, but have them. And here's the thing, for the absolute majority, and I mean 99.99999% of the time, these should be strictly enforced. Don't let your policies waver, or they're nothing more than a suggestion. Now, I'm not cold-hearted. I understand stuff happens. Sometimes good clients just mess up. So if you, on a very rare occasion, really feel the need to bend a little on something, okay. For example, I had a client who was always on time, never missed. If she had to cancel, she gave plenty of notice, was always very respectful, and sent a ton of clients my way. When her mother and father were both very sick and in and out of the hospital before they both passed, she, understandably, was a bit of a mess, and she no-showed me twice. Normally, I would have enforced my policy and required payment for the second and a credit card to hold any future appointments. But for her, specifically, the type of client she was and the situation she was in, it did not bother me in the least to give her a bit more grace. But that was a very, very, very rare occurrence. The vast majority of the time, our policies need to be non-negotiable. So please, for the love of all that is good and holy in this world, set your policies and stick with them. So let me know any policies I mentioned that you hadn't thought of that you'll implement now, or does this reinforce what you're already doing? Or if you've got a suggestion for another policy that you think is important, let us know. I would love to hear your thoughts, so leave some feedback in the comments. And for more info and tips on this and so much more to help your business succeed, be sure to join the free My Massage World Facebook group. Thank you so much for watching today. As always, check us out at mymassageworld.com, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and stay tuned for more videos. There's a new one every week.